Hey guys, thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Create Brevity, the podcast. And for this one, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I got started life coaching and whether or not you need a life coach for conscious manifesting or life coach, period, and whether or not, it's suitable for your situation, what you're going to get out of a life coach and yeah, I kind of want to get into that because I've been getting a lot of questions from people about it. So before we begin, I just want to let you guys know my name's eDirector and I do offer one-on-one coaching. And I also have a manifesting blog at www.createbrevity.com that you can check out if you have any more questions or you just want to read about some more techniques. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to talk about life coaching. Yay! It's a favorite topic of mine. Um, I'm very much immersed in it in my day to day, as you can probably tell from the podcast and from the blogs. And how I got started in it, it's a really fun story. Originally, I just worked a very corporate job, but it was in media, and I did that for many years. And although there was parts of it I certainly enjoyed, I always felt a little off about it. I always felt like I was mortgaging my time, and I had a lot of anxiety. The job itself had a lot of stressful moments. It consisted of a lot of running around, consisted of a lot of putting out fires, and having to sort of pre-stress or pre-diagnose things that could happen. So, for example, we had to problem solve not only as they came up, but it was our job to kind of foresee different problems that would come down the pike. So anything from something going wrong, and granted, sometimes it was positive. It was our job to foresee potential successes as well. But human nature being what it is, negative things, sort of ran the course, and it was a lion's share of my job was to sort of focus on all of the things that could go wrong. And so that in and of itself didn't suit my nature. And the other thing about it is, as I mentioned, I really did feel like I was mortgaging my time. I would get a lot of anxiety about, was I working enough? Was I working hard enough? If I took a day off, I would feel weirdly guilty about that. I would wonder where I would be, constantly worry about my future. I would worry about retirement. And it got to the point where I was basically scared of the future. I can say that now that I have some distance and space. But the future made me very nervous. I couldn't I every decision I made, it felt like it had to be quantified. I couldn't really be in the present because I was always seeing if something was going to be better for me later on down the road, if this decision was going to impact my retirement. And so I would constantly be worried about that. And the fact that I was always having to foresee potential negative outcomes, excuse me, for my work, it didn't really add any levity to my life. So I was already, from a personal point of view, looking down the bend, constantly worrying about it. And I was also doing that professionally. So I decided that I needed to completely dissolve my life as I knew it. I needed to find a different profession, and I needed to find something that I could do that didn't feel like I was mortgaging my time. So I started going through all the things you do before you get a life coach, essentially. You start taking stock of where you are, right? Accepting your current reality. I really had to take a hard look at it. And I then had to accept the responsibility that I am in control of my life. I'm not a victim, no matter what I want to think about it. And I had to accept that I had manifested a large part of what was happening to me, a large part of where I was. that it was my fault and it was no one else's. And it was also going to be my fault to get myself out of it. And I started doing that in two ways. One, I started dealing with the emotional reasons. There was a reason why I was attracted, right? Where I felt comfortable doing a job where I was constantly foreseeing negative circumstances. There was a reason why I felt comfortable doing it, but there was also a reason why I was tired of it. I was very uncomfortable doing it. I didn't have any emotional distance. So I started doing a lot of self concept work. Okay. I started emotionally aligning myself to the outcome that I wanted to have. I started focusing on my ideal career. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but I knew that it was going to be something where I was in control of my time, where I could give myself as much work as I wanted at any time I wanted it. And I could do something that didn't feel like work. I would pray for that every single day. And I started going through this and I started talking to people about what I was doing. They got interested in the process. They actually asked me for advice and I talked to them. They felt better. They started doing better. And I realized this is it. I'm great at this. People started coming to me for that. And I realized I can make a living. I could comfortably support myself doing this. I can help people get where they want to go. And in the process, I can be where I want to be at the same time. And it was an amazing feeling. And it was the first time that I really felt like I wasn't mortgaging my time. Like I wasn't just waiting on the clock. I wasn't waiting for someone. I was actually just giving something that I knew that I could give, that I knew was going to help. Even if it was just a couple of words, just pushing them in the right direction. I knew that I was capable of it and I knew that I was going to be successful at it. And it was just a relief. I've talked about it in other podcasts, but I often say that the feeling when you have your manifestation, when you know you're doing it, is just a feeling of normalcy, right? You have that excited, relieved feeling, but then you can just kind of relax into it and you can just count on it. And that's what life coaching became for me. And I got interested in doing the psychological aspects of it that I had learned during my certification. But I also wanted to involve a little bit more spirituality and I wanted to involve the manifesting side of it. I wanted to involve the sort of conscious creation, how to focus your energy. I wanted to bring that into it. And that in and of itself was another journey. And the reason why I bring this up is a lot of times people are really curious, not only how I got started, but how they can get started. And they're also very curious as to why they need someone to help them out. And I'm letting you know right off the bat, I don't actually think anyone needs a life coach to manifest anything because I think it's a very natural process that you get on your own. And that happens regardless whether or not you're aware of it or not. You are always manifesting. You're just manifesting from a place of what you are and not what you want. And when you start consciously manifesting, you're manipulating that. You're kind of changing your focus and you're focusing all of your energy on what you want. And you're doing that by basically embodying what you want to be. So I don't actually think you need a coach to manifest. And you also don't need a coach to necessarily teach you how to focus. There's so much good content available on my blog, on this podcast, on my YouTube channel, but also others that do a fabulous job of explaining these concepts and breaking them down in understandable chunks. So there's so many free resources. So paying for a life coach is not necessary. However, life coaches are great for people who have very specific goals, who want a targeted approach, and they need someone to help them along the way, help them stay the path. Uh, Think of a life coach as a personal trainer at the gym. You certainly don't need a trainer to help you lose weight, and you don't need a trainer to necessarily help you get those muscle groups that you want, but it's easier. And the trainer is going to tell you how to breathe properly so you get it faster, right? They're going to tell you how to do your obliques a certain way so that the muscle pattern is exactly the way that you want it, right? And it's going to help you from some of the trial and the error, right, that you may have experienced on your own or that you may be going through. That's basically all life coaches are here for. That's what we do. We help you through that process. We help you stay the course, right? So, for example, we're here for if you are spiraling and you just don't know how to get yourself out of the spiral and how to start applying the techniques properly. Okay. We do that for you. We can explain the techniques for you. We can set you up with a plan of action. Okay. However, what we don't do, we do not do the manifesting for you. So we can set you up with a plan of action, but we can't actually make you follow it. That's going to be up to you, right? That's the challenge that you have with yourself. And that's kind of where it gets tricky. I know sometimes clients, they really want their manifestations yesterday, and they feel like if they get a life coach, they're going to get their manifestation right away. And sometimes it works out like that, and sometimes it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, you manifest what you are, and you are the only thing standing in your way. So, life coach or no life coach, you already have your manifestation. You just have to start believing in yourself. And life coaches can certainly help you get there, but they can't control everything. And they definitely can't control you and force you to stay focused in the right direction, in the right places. So that's when I wouldn't recommend a life coach. If you're looking for someone who's going to be at your back, kind of kicking and poking and prodding you down the line, then you might want to take a break from looking for a life coach and you might want to look within and see what's going on. What's going on with your self concept that you're finding it that difficult that you're needing it, right? That's when I would recommend that you look within because that's not going to be something that a life coach can do. However, if you are maybe this is the first big goal that you're manifesting, you've gotten some small successes, but you're wondering what's going on with your big goal, or you have certain anxieties that keep coming up and you need somebody to kind of help you figure them out a little bit, help you find your way out. You're certainly going to be doing the work, but a life coach can certainly help you decode some of the things that you're saying, some of the negative thoughts that you keep having, and put you again back on that plan of action. That's what a life coach is for. Okay. And in terms of when should you get one and cost, that's really up to you. There are varying costs, there's varying plans with different coaches. And as far as timing is concerned, it's where you are in your life. If you really feel ready to make that investment in yourself and you feel like, yes, I've done some of the small things, now I'm ready to get on a plan and I want to work with someone that I know is going to help me out, that I resonate with, whose voice I really like, then that's the perfect time. If you're feeling like, oh, I just don't know, I'm feeling like I can't afford it, I I don't I feel anxiety when I even think about explaining my problems to someone, then again, it's time to kind of stop, put a bookmark in it, and go within and start looking at what's causing some of these triggers and these anxieties. So I really hope that helps. Like I said, getting a life coach is definitely a wonderful decision and it's a smart decision, and it can really set you up to begin a relationship that's going to last. But at the same time, it's for everyone at a different point in their lives, and it's also perhaps not something that you need right now. So, depending on where you are, look inward. Please examine kind of what your thoughts and your emotions are, okay? And jump into the process with your eyes open. Ask questions. Don't ever feel intimidated. Always know that no matter what you're asking, it is the absolute right question to ask. There's no such thing as a dumb question, okay? And keep at it, right? Whether you get one or you don't get one, you're always manifesting. You're always doing the work yourself. So keep at it. Don't give up, right? And always know that you are enough. You have everything inside of you to get whatever it is you want. You just have to start believing it. You have to start believing that it's possible. You have to start believing that you have it. Surrender to the process, surrender to yourself, and you're going to start seeing movement in your 3D at any moment. I really hope this helps, guys. I really appreciate you guys listening. And it always means a lot anytime I see that someone else has listened to the podcast, whether online, on a platform, or on YouTube. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Love and light.